4 for 12 shooting is the primary defender in this series. Let's move over to the Clippers and the Nuggets now, because the Clips held the Nuggets to their fewest points in this season. 34-point blowout. That's despite Nikola Jokic having a triple-double. But nonetheless, what can you share about Denver's offensive struggles?
Shout out to Ty Lue and the defensive guru Jeff Van Gundy with what he's been doing with the Clippers. What they're doing right now is they're doubling 3 players, Jamal, Joker, and Michael Porter Jr., and they're daring the rest of the team to beat them. And if the Nuggets don't take a shot off the Joker pass, typically it goes to a second pass and another bad shot, and they're closing in on the lanes, as you see right there. Just masterful defense by the Clippers. And so Saturday, to me, is a gut check for the Clippers. It's like, do they still want to be around? Are they ready to tank it in? Aaron Gordon had ice packs on his right calf. Russell has an injury. Jamal's been hurting. Michael Porter Jr., I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play. I watched him have a hard time just put on his long sleeve shirt after the game. And now you're talking about a Saturday afternoon game. I think it's quite possible he could be sitting out. So we'll see. Coach getting fired, injuries, issues with camaraderie. Let's see how much the Nuggets care about this season on Saturday.
Yeah. Tough time putting on a long sleeve shirt. Not so good. Nuggets averaged 99 points this series. They averaged 121 in the regular season, so obviously downfall in terms of offensive output. You can read Mark's latest article on Anscape about James Harden's opportunity at more.
So James Harden and Marcus, I appreciate where y'all coming from. But if y'all going to come at people for throwing shade on Kawhi Leonard, let's just be accurate. All we were saying is, damn, you great. We really, really want to see you out on that court, because with you, the Clippers could win a championship. Without you, they have no chance. That's the bottom line.
Stephen A., I agree with everything you just said. I don't know how many of you guys have had, Marcus, I don't know if you've ever had a regular job, but my boss used to say, you know that Sharpe, he a good hard worker when I can get him to come to work. Kawhi's a good player when I can get him to come play basketball. How am I supposed to give you credit if you're sitting on the sideline in street clothes and your team is out there fighting, trying to advance in the playoffs, trying to win a championship? Stephen A. spoke to this. He won an NBA, he won a Finals MVP in San Antonio. He couldn't have been no more than 23, 24 years of age. Then he turns around and then he wins another Finals MVP in Toronto after joining the Raptors halfway through the season. There's no denying his greatness. Guess what? How he was rewarded with that. Not only does he have 2 Finals MVPs, not only does he have 2 Defensive Players of the Year, he was named one of the 75 greatest players in NBA history. Is that not appreciation enough? But let me digress. Bro, if you're not on the court, what am I appreciating? What am I supposed to give you credit for? Stephen A. spoke to this. He said, look, when he's on the court, we know what he is. Also, Stephen A., I thought the mid-range was dead. It don't look dead to me. It look like it's in full effect when it comes to Kawhi and some of these other guys that shoot the mid-range. The mid-range was going last night. But to carry on this point, Kawhi gets the adequate praise and adulation heaped on him that he deserves when he plays, because he's been an all-NBA selection several times. He's been a Defensive Player of the Year, he's been a Finals MVP, and he's one of the 75 greatest players to have ever played this game. That's appreciation. But when you don't play, I don't know the praise and the adulation I'm supposed to heap when you're not out there competing.
All right, Marcus, close us out, and then we'll get to the other LA team.
And I agree with you, Shay and Stephen A., but the thing about it is, like, as his teammate, I'm speaking from what I see from this guy day in and day out, right? When I was there, he was always the first one in the gym. He was always working extremely hard. He took his job very seriously. And injuries happen. Injuries happen to the game. It's unfortunate that it happened to such a great player like that, because when he is out there, it's special. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's doing off-the-chart numbers. His fadeaway is looking like Jordan. Let's be serious. I'm speaking from a part of seeing this guy day in and day out work extremely hard, and that's the only thing I can go off of. I understand that you have opinions. I don't think that is hate. I just think it's more that, you know, you get tired of kind of hearing, like, what if and what if. It's not his fault. He's playing hard. Other guys has been injured on his team. Paul George was injured a few times when I was there in L.A., and he had to take on the load, and, you know, quite frankly, that could have led to injuries.
All right, we got to leave it there, guys. Get into tonight's game.
Can I say one thing, Molly?
Sure, go ahead. Consensus, it's the Clippers?
Right now, I'm more confident in the Lakers, but I need the Clippers to handle our dirty work for us. I need them to go out there and take care of Denver first, and then take care of OKC so we can have
Knock them
nothing
out.
but smooth sailing.
Clear the path. Oh, my goodness.
I have confidence in the Clippers, too. I think it probably will be OKC. You know, I think it might be the Lakers in a conference final.
I wouldn't mind an all LA
Me
conference
neither.
finals. It wouldn't bother me. Not in the slightest.
Inglewood to LA, that's a cool
Maybe
trip
you'll
to
finally
me.
take me to that arena.
Doggy, I got you. I got you. Say
Let's
less.
go Lakers, baby.
I got you, doggy.
Really?
You with me. You with me. VIP.
Yes, the hell with you.
Yeah.
You sit there, you sit over here.
Yeah,
What are you doing
yeah.
here?
Last
I
name
would go
Doggy
with
gets in
instead
free.
of me. So you're good. You hit the
All right,
jackpot.
before we keep it pushing here, though, Stephen A., you said obviously the Celtics would beat them, but you're not concerned at all about Jason Tatum's wrist?
No. I think, it's possible he might miss tonight's game. But if it ain't broken, he'll be all right.
I think all of that comes into question again with what happened to him last night, and it's terrible. You hate to see it because he's such a fun guy to watch when he's playing well. So talented, so entertaining, and I think there's a good chance we don't see him the rest of the series.
Well, let's move on to the last game and the worst one from the night. The Clippers absolutely blow the doors off of Denver, 117-83. They did it behind a 23-2 run at the end of the first. Denver actually had a good first 7 minutes or so of this game where they were getting some good cuts, some good movement. They weren't getting a ton of stops, but they did have like a 6-point lead early, and then a 23-2 haymaker. And Legs, I'm going to kind of lead you in on this because, obviously this is the game I'm locked into, and this is the team I cover closest. They did this. The Clippers did this in game 2 as well, where they brought Zubats out at the end of the first quarter and then bring him in at the second quarter because Denver's rhythm is to play Yoke the whole first quarter and then to sit him. And they're making the gamble that Denver cannot beat them at the end of those minutes when Ben Simmons is guarding Jokic. They're a little bit smaller, a little switchy. Denver brings in their bench players. They lose some of their shooting, bringing in Peyton Watson and Jalen Pickett, Russell Westbrook. So they're saying we can pack the paint against Jokic in those minutes and then bring Zubats, a big bodied in against Denver, Aaron Gordon at center. We can do that. And it worked because Denver really fell apart at the end of the first quarter. And in the start of the second quarter, it was just an enormous Clippers run and a Clippers haymaker. And Denver didn't recover at all. So we have a lot to talk about. But that first part of it, to me, the 23-2 run was really what happened in this game. Everything else just played out after that. But what did you see?
Yeah, I mean, that's the game in a nutshell. That's where it pretty much ended right there. And one of the problems for Denver, as we know, as we've talked about, they shoot a good percentage. They don't take enough threes or make enough threes or have enough firepower from the 3-point line. You fall down 15, 20 points. That's going to be really, really difficult. They're minus 33 from the 3-point line in this game to the Clippers. Right. I mean, how are you supposed to recover from that? So when you fall behind, and on the road even harder, when you fall behind and you're going to not chip away by stringing together a few threes at some point, makes it really, really difficult. I thought their 3-point shooting was exposed in this game. I thought some other major factors in this game. Michael Porter Jr. clearly is ineffective with this shoulder injury. He was not himself. It's a lot of things he's not going to be able to do on the court with that particular injury. It was obviously bothering him. And I saw frustration on the part of Jokic. I think that, he was out there and he wasn't a complete player, and that was going to make it really tough on them. Russell Westbrook now dealing with something physically. He only played 9 minutes in this game, I believe.
Yeah, he
9
got hurt
minutes
in the second quarter, didn't return.
And he's been critical for this team down the stretch and even through the first couple of games, as well as he's played. Denver's in a really tough spot right now, going into down 2-1, game 4 on the road, and potentially even more shorthanded. So my first question for you is, what's going on with Porter and Westbrook? What do you expect? You're there. What are they saying? What do you think is going to happen here going forward with their rotation?
So Michael Porter had that injury at the end of game 2, kind of that terrible mistake, and then goes down, isn't able to get up. And it really was the moment of game 2 that flipped the game. He comes back and tries to play this one. And I think a valiant effort, playing through injury, but he was not himself. So 2 of 9 from the field. He was a minus 25 in the game, but he said after the game, I was not helping my team. I was hurting it. And I don't know if I should even try to play. Like, I want to help my team, but helping my team in game 4 might be not playing. And he might be right. The problem, Legs, is they have 2 shooters in their entire rotation, Michael Porter and Jamal Murray. They already struggle. When I talk about the Clippers' defensive game plan is, hey, we can afford to sit Zubats and to sit Kawhi at the end of the first quarter because Denver has to bring in a non-shooting lineup, and that's just easy to guard even if you're compromised. Well, now you take out Michael Porter. You don't have to wait for that stint. That's going to be the entire game. Denver will not have more than one shooter on the court at any given moment. So losing him, even though he was completely ineffective in this game, is huge. And then Russell Westbrook, he obviously is a hot or cold, help you or hurt you guy. You kind of flip a coin every night, but at least he's in the rotation as their sixth man. If you lose Porter and you lose Russell Westbrook, Denver's depth was their problem. Peyton Watson is likely starting in this game. By the way, he was really rough, really terrible last night as well, but he's probably starting. And your first man off the bench is Jalen Pickett, who's only been playing for about 20 games total. That would be Denver's fifth and sixth guy in game 4 if it comes to it. So I think it's definitely DEFCON 1 if you're Denver.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, you don't put anything past Nikola Jokic and what the guy's capable of, but if you're that shorthanded where Michael Porter Jr., potentially doesn't play, or now the Clippers know that that's going through his head and he's so limited, you can guard him differently. Westbrook, if he's hobbled and limited, it's already, the shooting's already a problem. You're going to make sure you're not giving him anything easy. You don't put anything past Jokic, but at the same time, you just look at what's available against this level defense and what you're going to have to do to relieve some pressure off of him. I think it's going to be really tough for Denver. Look, I liked the Clippers going into the series regardless, like both teams fully healthy. I thought it was going to be, and I said it to you the other day, I thought we were going to get 6 or 7 games that were decided in the last 6 minutes. I really did. I thought they was going to be that even. This one surprised me a little bit, and I don't know why it would be, because there's been a number of blowouts in the playoffs so far. A lot of games are not close.